Welcome to the very first episode of TopPick. The survival building genre has seen a massive explosion over the last 3 years. We've seen it all, from desperate cities buried in ice to vibrant medieval villages, dark academies, and settlements drifting across the open ocean. But the true joy of this genre isn't just about staying alive. It's about taking chaos and turning it into a thriving empire. In this video, we're looking at the standout survival building titles released between 2023 and 2025. Just a heads up, we are focusing strictly on full releases. That means no early access titles and no older classics. We're saving those for future videos. Let's dive in. Farthest Frontier is a brutal, hyper-realistic, medieval survival city builder that hooks you deep. If you know the developers behind Grim Dawn, you know they don't do things halfway. With Farthest Frontier, they've switched genres to deliver a medieval city builder that is as beautiful as it is brutal. You lead a dozen settlers fleeing oppression to the wild edge of the world. Starting with meager supplies, you're not just surviving a season, you are building a legacy that spans generations. But be warned, nature here fights dirty. You will battle endless winters, soil blight, and diseases like dysentery. And it's not just the elements. Threats escalate from lone thieves to full-blown siege armies with catapults trying to burn your hamlet to ash. Visually, it is stunning. The dynamic blizzards and detailed animations paired with a haunting soundtrack turn the daily grind into an epic struggle. With the 1.0 release, the revamped tech tree gives the game a sharper focus. It's a slow burn, but the depth is unmatched. If you crave punishing authenticity, this is tough love perfected. Frostpunk 2, the thin line between morality and survival. Set 30 years after the first game, New London has evolved into a sprawling metropolis organized by districts. As the city's leader, you face life or death decisions as the eternal winter grows even harsher. But the biting cold is only half the battle. The real conflict lies in the clash of ideologies. Frostpunk 2 leans heavily into politics, far more than its predecessor. Every choice requires careful calculation beyond mere survival. A few missteps or empty promises can lead you straight to the gallows, ending your reign abruptly. Personally, the first game felt more intimate. You were close to a small, desperate community. In the sequel, with 10 times the population, the focus shifts to macro politics and the long-term endurance of humanity. It feels heavier and more stressful, though perhaps it lacks the personal immersion of the original's smaller scale. That said, the technical upgrades are undeniable. The graphics and audio are superb. Watching the glowing city strain under the blizzard, accompanied by the howling wind, makes every frame a stunning experience. If you enjoy morally grey choices, political tension, and a suffocating atmosphere, the Frostpunk series is a must-play. Foundation, the art of organic building. Foundation feels less like a rigorous simulation and more like a sunny, living cartoon. It features these round, adorable characters wandering through a lush, wind-swept world that just looks incredibly inviting. The gameplay ditches the rigid grid for something completely organic. You don't just plop down identical houses, you act as a zoning planner. You paint the residential or agricultural areas, and your villagers naturally build their own homes and carve out winding paths based on where they actually walk. Watching your village sprout up and evolve on its own is deeply satisfying. Then there's the monument system, which is a creative dream. You aren't stuck with pre-made buildings. Instead, you get to snap together modules. Walls, towers, dormitories, or refectories to design unique churches and sprawling castles that are truly one of a kind. You can even tailor your rule through the estate system, deciding whether to focus on military conquests, monastery production, or simply pleasing the common folk. But ultimately, with its charming visuals and gentle pacing, Foundation is the ultimate stress reliever. There is no brutal survival pressure here. It is simply a game for those who want to hand-paint a beautiful, peaceful kingdom at their own rhythm. Against the Storm blends city building with roguelite mechanics, making every run a fresh mental workout. It's designed to be tough, hard to learn, harder to master, but absolutely worth your time. As a royal viceroy, you establish temporary settlements in the untamed wilds for the Queen. It's a classic carrot and stick experience. Success is rewarded, failure is punished. The constant pressure of deadlines forces you to adapt, killing any chance of using a cookie-cutter strategy. The core challenge lies in managing diverse species: humans, beavers, foxes, lizards, and harpies. You must juggle their unique needs while facing the Blightstorm, a destructive force that can wipe out your progress. Thanks to its roguelite structure, upgrades persist between runs. Even if you fail, you're still moving forward. It's a brilliant loop of short-term tactics and long-term strategy, highly acclaimed, though the steep learning curve demands patience. Mind over magic, the darker, deeper Hogwarts. Ever wanted to build your own Hogwarts, but darker, deadlier, and way more chaotic? That is Mind over Magic. It sits right between the creativity of The Sims and the survival pressure of Oxygen Not Included, which makes sense, as it's published by Klee, the legends behind Don't Starve. Here's the twist. You play as the headmaster, but you're already dead. As a ghost, you must manage a school that serves as the world's last defense against the deadly fog. The building mechanics are the real hook. You can't just slap down walls anywhere. Rooms require specific keywords to function, like being elevated, skewed, or ensuring a bedroom isn't next to a noisy workshop. It turns architecture into a puzzle, forcing you to design bizarre, gravity-defying castles. Then there are the students: foxkin, lizard folk, and other oddities. The magic system is brilliant because wands are dual purpose. A nature wand controls crowds and grows crops. Air magic slices monsters and hauls luggage. Fire blasts enemies and cooks dinner. From multi-classing wizards and raising dragons to dungeon crawling in the deadly underschool, the depth is insane. If you love complex base building with a spooky twist, this game will cast a spell on you. The Planet Crafter, turning a dead rock green. Think of this as Subnautica, but on land, and without the terrifying sea monsters trying to eat you. You start on a desolate red wasteland with nothing but a mining tool and a few oxygen tanks. Your goal? Terraforming. The progression here is pure visual dopamine. You aren't just watching numbers go up on a screen. You are watching the world physically evolve. The sky shifts from a dusty orange to a deep blue. Valleys flood to become massive lakes, and eventually, moss turns into forests. Watching your first rainstorm after hours of staring at dry sand is incredibly satisfying. A huge plus is the co-op mode, added recently. Building a base and watching an asteroid shower with a friend is a total vibe. If you want a chill, non-violent experience where you conquer nature through science, this is the best in class right now. Stranded: Alien Dawn, the 3D RimWorld experience. Let's call it what it is. Stranded: Alien Dawn is essentially a stunning 3D version of RimWorld. While it might not reach the insane complexity level of its 2D cousin, it carves out its own identity with plenty of charm. The setup is a sci-fi classic. A space mission goes wrong, your ship crashes, as tradition dictates, and your crew is left stranded on a beautiful but deadly alien rock. Everything is unknown. You can't just harvest resources blindly, you have to observe and research the alien flora first. Is that weird purple plant food, medicine, or poison? You have to do the science to find out. The heart of the game is your crew. Just like RimWorld, every survivor has specific skills, quirks, and plenty of emotional baggage. You aren't just assigning jobs, you are juggling their hunger, health, and sanity while trying to keep them from having a mental breakdown. Base building is deeply satisfying, transitioning from a crash site to a high-tech fortress with farming and ranching. But don't get too cozy. The local wildlife is aggressive. One gap in your defense can cost you everything. Overall, if you love the colony sim genre but find RimWorld's interface too intimidating, or just want a similar experience with gorgeous graphics, Stranded: Alien Dawn is a solid pick. Next, let's look at a trio of games that share a lot of DNA: Necessity, Core Keeper, and Return from Core. All three are top-down, 2D open-world survival crafting games that send you digging deep underground. They all feature base building, co-op with friends, and surprisingly useful NPCs who can fight by your side or even become your personal harem. First up is Necessity. After 6 years in early access, it finally hit version 1.0 in late 2025. Visually, it keeps that classic pixel vibe similar to Terraria, not flashy, but harmonious. The gameplay feels comfortably old school, building rooms for NPCs to automate trade and crafting. The gear-based skill system offers huge variety. It's perfect if you want something that feels both fresh and nostalgically familiar. Then we have Core Keeper. It takes pixel art to another level with stunning lighting and artistic color palettes. However, the gameplay is much more streamlined. Crafting is simplified. No complex intermediate steps, just put materials in and go. This makes it incredibly accessible and focused on pacing, perfect for newcomers. But for hardcore veterans, the survival aspects might feel a bit too simple. Finally, Return from Core goes the opposite direction. It's like a hot pot of mechanics, conveyor belts, automation, industrial farming, and electricity. It offers a lot to explore, but can be overwhelming. Sometimes too much makes you full too quickly. The story and dialogue are frankly weak and bland. The saving grace? The monster girl. NPCs, from alluring androids to cute wolf girls who help with combat and daily life. Living underground with them is definitely interesting. Flotsam: The Drifting Sea. City Flotsam throws you into a flooded world with absolutely no dry ground. It's basically the movie Water World, but colorful and quirky. You start with a few drifters on a floating garbage patch. The core loop is literally one man's trash is another man's treasure. You salvage plastic waste and driftwood from the ocean to build a moving town. The standout feature here is the drifting mechanic. Your town isn't static. You actively steer your entire settlement to different biomes, scavenging landmarks like sunken cities or mysterious islands. Visually, I love it. The art style is vibrant, and the animations of your drifters turning trash into fuel are charming. It's a feel-good survival game. The threat of starvation is there, but the vibe is surprisingly chill. If you want a builder that is unique in setting and relaxing to play over a weekend, Flotsam is a solid choice. Just don't go in expecting infinite replayability. The Wandering Village, a city on a giant's back. If Flotsam had you drifting on trash, this game puts you on the back of a colossal, six-legged creature called Onbu. Right off the bat, the art style is the biggest hook. It looks like a Studio Ghibli movie come to life with a mix of 2D hand-drawn assets and 3D environments. The gameplay loop is fascinating because it adds a layer of biology to your city building. You aren't just managing wood and stone. You are managing the health of the very ground you stand on. You have to feed Onbu, cure it of toxic spores, and command it to walk or sleep. Here is the kicker, the moral dilemma. You can play symbiotically, treating Onbu like a god, or you can play as a parasite, drilling into its back to extract blood for fuel. It's a dark twist in an otherwise cute game. Recent updates in 2024 have really fleshed out the biomes, including the ocean update, making the journey feel much longer and more varied. To be honest, the pacing can be a bit slow for some. You are literally at the mercy of where the beast walks, and sometimes waiting for Onbu to cross a desert feels like forever. But if you want a builder that makes you emotionally attached to the map itself, this is a masterpiece. It's less about conquering and more about coexisting. Next up is Pioneers of Pagonia. I'll be honest, this game isn't really my vibe, but my personal taste isn't the law, and given the positive Steam reviews, it definitely earns its place on this TopPick list. Released in late 2025, Pagonia puts you in the shoes of a pioneer leader. Through various campaign missions, the goal remains the same: establishing a thriving economy. The game's soul is its intricate production chains. You're managing a complex logistics web, watching thousands of units haul goods and craft tools. With over 40 buildings and 70 resources, road optimization is crucial. However, I have to say, I'm not fully sold on the mechanics. It often feels like the game slices simple tasks into tiny pieces just to create artificial complexity in the management layer. On the survival side, you explore procedurally generated maps, pushing back the fog and facing bandits or beasts. But don't expect RTS depth. Combat is essentially an economy check. Equip enough units, spam them, and you win. It lacks tactical substance. Still, visually, it's incredibly satisfying. It nails that busy ant farm look. If you aren't as critical as I am and want a friendly builder without war pressure, it's worth a look. If you enjoyed the games featured in this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It really helps me out and ensures you won't miss any future content. Thanks for watching.